Welcome to Relatively Speaking, the podcast where we dive into the beautiful chaos of everyday life with your hosts, Taylor and Kaitlin. Whether you're juggling family life, navigating friendships, or exploring ways to improve your personal growth, we're here to share our stories, laugh together, and probably shed a tear or two.
Join us each week as we chat about trending topics, swap tips, and offer our honest opinions. Think of us as your new besties, ready to tackle the ups and downs of life right alongside you. So get comfy and let's talk about it all.
Relatively speaking.
All right. Hi, besties. We are so excited. We are currently at the beach house.
Girls trip.
Made
it out of the chat.
Caught it out. Made it out of the group chat. So hype. Ready to rock. Ready to roll. Technical difficulties aside, podcasting's harder than it looks. And
when you have no technical
experience, so
we have tons of experience yapping and zero experience.
The yapping skills are there. The tech experience is not. So
we need to make a tech friend. Audio friend.
I'm telling Colin, I'm like, we need to hire someone to do this for us. Like, it's rough.
We're just girls.
I'm just a girl. And I'm not.
Even when I watch videos online about it, I'm like,
you're talking about, I've been researching, I've been reading this. Half these words aren't even English to me.
And listen, I'm not a dumb person. I'm a smart person, but it's nothing that I've ever been interested in. So it is so hard for me to like be focused and be like, okay, follow along. What are you talking about?
I've only ever been the type of person that's like, if I can do it on my iPhone, like I can't even edit a TikTok. When we talk about, oh, maybe we make a TikTok in one shot, unless it's like pictures together. I can't do that.
We're gonna have to practice.
Yeah, I guess people just learn. I think you just learn.
Do.
Like, I don't know. So
we'll get there.
Yeah. So this week, on this episode, we're gonna be talking about friendships, frenemies,
everything in between.
In between, yeah. But yeah, before we get started, any tea? Anything you want to spill?
I don't think so.
You don't have anything to share?
I'm ready to roll.
We're at the beach. Went to the beach today.
Yeah.
Beached it up. Living our best lives.
Got a little sun. Little color.
A little too much sun, maybe, but all right.
We might have forgotten the sunscreen.
We forgot everything.
And the beach chairs.
We were just on the beach. We were on the beach.
Yeah.
So.
And it was all good.
I still had a good time.
I did too. It was pretty relaxing, pretty quiet.
Too quiet. A little too quiet, not what I'm used to.
I know.
I'm used to chaos.
I know. So, Bestie. OG Bestie.
Yeah.
Speaking of friends.
Speaking of besties making it out of the group chat.
How did we meet?
We're relatively besties. So, I guess, yeah, that's like a good place to start. Give a little background, little info of us two. I'm Taylor.
I'm Kaitlin.
And we're besties. And you're going to be besties. So,
yeah, besties. We grew to be besties.
Over time. We met in... It's like reliving this all over again. Because, the last few days we've been just hanging out, catching up, chit-chatting.
I told David that we stayed up till midnight talking and talked for like 5 hours straight. And he said, you're nuts.
Yeah, well, I feel like you just gotta catch up. You gotta catch it all.
Yeah.
We don't get to see each other that much, but, like, most of our time is spent, like, just texting, snapping, sending lots of snaps, which I think snapping is out, but, like...
Yeah, I think so, too. I think it's getting to be
It's the best way to communicate when we have hectic...
Yeah, because we used to communicate via...
Don't even... It's gonna age us.
Really?
Marco Polo?
Marco Polo, but then they started charging and we're like, screw that, we're going to Snapchat again.
Snapping long videos, sending them, saying your thoughts, spilling it out, and then just sending it. Not even thinking about it. I don't watch it back. I literally send it raw and edited.
Yeah.
For years. I don't even know when we started doing this. I guess it was back around when we...
I don't even know.
Met up.
I don't even know.
Anyways, yeah.
We have our own personal blog, like, every day.
Yeah.
Basically.
But it's good. It's so good to have your feelings just spilled out every day. Like, someone is on the other line and they're listening.
And they
And
care.
yeah, well,
You know they
because
care.
it's like we can tune in when it's convenient, when we get a chance, which for me is not. I'm not good at it lately because life's been crazy. But yeah, we've been friends now for. We just talked about this, and now it's evading me.
8 years.
8 year. I think it was 8 years.
2016.
Yes, because I was gonna say 2018.
Nope,
No,
16.
2016. Holy moly.
Yep.
2016. We met through David.
My husband.
Because David was my youth group leader. You know, not leader, but he what would you call it? Volunteer.
Sure.
He volunteered at the youth group, and Colin and I went, my husband, and David was there. And then I don't even know how we got pulled into the life group.
I don't know either.
I don't know either because
Maybe they were just recruiting people.
Well, this was back when Chris had his own service.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Colin and
I
I
never
went. It was more of like a musical service.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Chris has had a beautiful voice.
Yeah, I never went to that.
And
but that makes sense.
I think that that's how he pulled us in. And
Yeah.
obviously he knew David because David was so involved. And so he pulled David in and then some other like younger couples. And it was couples.
Yes.
There was a few single people.
Not many.
But it was mainly young couples.
Yeah.
But
I can't even. Ashley
was
I was going to say, I can't even think of any singles, but she was a single. But yeah.
I thought like Kayla was supposed to join us.
Yeah, she never did.
She did at one point.
Really?
She did come to your house when it was at your house with you and
Maybe
a few times.
Maybe. Anyway.
Yes, because she was in our prayer request journal. We're getting so off topic. So we met in 2018. 2016, and you and David had just started dating.
We had
just
in
got
May.
together, and I had just graduated high school at this time. I was fresh out of high school. Colin and I were just out of high school, and Kaitlin and David had just started dating.
There's a little bit of an age gap.
A little bit of an age gap.
Between Taylor and I.
8 years. So when you and I met, you were the age that I am now.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
I'm a millennial and you're a
Gen Z.
Gen Z.
I hate that phrase, but I definitely feel more Gen Z than millennial. You're a true millennial too.
I am.
Like you just Jelly Roll.
I was not.
Jelly Roll makes music for millennials. It's just I don't know how else to explain it. Like when Chugi was a thing a few years ago.
Don't know what that is.
You've never heard of Chugi?
No.
Come on.
I haven't. No.
It's like millennial core, like ankle boots, side part, skinny jeans.
But what does that word mean?
Like cringy. Like millennial core. Like, oh,
okay.
You're such a millennial. Chugi.
I've never heard of that word.
We'll have to look it up.
I will say I try to keep up on the lingo, but I have never heard of that word.
It was a few years ago.
Okay.
Like 2021 maybe?
Oh, so I was in the thick of it.
Probably. Yeah, you were out
babies.
of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, a little bit of an age gap there, which I thought that it made more of a difference to us that we had an age gap. I felt like maybe you looked down like this little girl.
No, I don't notice it at all. Like, until you remind me, or we're talking about it and you're like, remember, I'm younger than your youngest sister. And I'm like, oh.
By a year, but still,
I kind of forgot. Yeah.
Yes. Because, I mean, we're still very much in the same phase of life. Like, our children are the same ages and, you know, but like when you tell me what year you graduated high school, I'm like, oh my gosh. 8 years before me. That's like a different lifetime apart.
It is. It honestly is, but I feel like once you get out of high school and maybe even college, I feel like everything's kind of more the same.
Yeah.
It's not such a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking about like the era I grew up in versus the era you grew up in, like different worlds.
Yeah.
Like, how old were you when you got your first cell phone?
Dang near a senior. I might have had one when I was a junior.
What was the phone when you graduated?
The phone was a Razor. Like the OG Razor.
Did you have one?
No, but my best friend at the time did. And one night at my house, we were eating like queso dip and chips, and she dropped it in the queso.
I did have a Razor. I had a silver one.
No, I didn't have a Razor. I had a track phone.
The black brick.
Yeah.
I also had one of those too because I got in trouble and my mom's like, "You're done. Razor no more."
Oh yeah, like
I remember when the slide, like I think the
yes.
original was like they called the
Kirsten had a
sidekick,
slide, yeah.
and I got a slide up phone.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was in like the 8th grade, and I thought it was so cool. And I feel bad that like our kids will never ever have. I don't even think that they make phones like that anymore.
No, David's dad has like an OG flip
Flip
phone,
phone,
and like Verizon has been making him. They're
aggressive.
like, you have to switch. You
Yeah,
can't have that phone anymore.
yeah, yeah. Like our kids will never. And I've seen like those kinds of phones that are like
Kid phones.
Yeah, but like
Mhm.
I'm sure our kids will probably just go straight to iPhones, which is crazy. They'll never even know the struggle.
Yeah.
They'll never know. Remember when you used to text, you had to hit the 3 buttons to send a text, and they would charge you per text? Anyways.
Yes.
My mom, you're sending too many texts. You
would.
only have so many per month.
I always had to pay for my own stuff, and so when I got my track phone, I always had to pay for it. And if I was running low, I would.
Minutes, you had to buy minutes?
Yeah, and I would text Emily like one text, and I'll be like, "This is all the information you need to know. I'm out of minutes. Like, don't text me."
Remember, it was like free after 9 to call.
Not on the track, I don't think.
Oh. Well, the home phone.
Yeah, I did talk on the home phone a lot.
Me too. That was, but like our kids, even like my younger sibling, would never even know anything about that.
Yeah.
Like I remember talking on the home phone, and I would get as soon as I would get home, and if I was like talking to someone, I'd be like, I'll call you back on the home phone. Hang up.
Dad would pick up and he'd be like, "Get off the phone."
You only had one line.
Yeah.
I had a second.
Ritzy.
I know.
We had one line, so you were either on the internet or on the phone. And if you picked up the phone when someone was on the internet, it was going like.
Colony House had dial up.
Yeah.
Up until it was a long time. Like when you would run a credit card, it went.
A credit card.
Yeah. Anyways, but we're besties.
Yeah.
That sounds like almost cringy to say.
No, it's not cringy.
I mean, we're besties. This is my bestie. But I mean, I feel like the term bestie is kind of silly when you don't have any other friends. Obviously, you're my bestie. I don't have anyone else.
But yeah, that's why you guys are going to be our besties too, because
you're just sitting in on these convos that we're having with one another.
Yeah. So 2016 we met. We slowly grew our friendship. It was like a slow burn. It wasn't a quick firecracker where we are so compatible.
I think that 2018 was really when our friendship kicked off. That's when we had started like hanging out, doing stuff together.
Outside of the group.
Outside of the group.
Yeah.
You know, we had hung out, we got coffee a few times, and once we started talking about like
life,
real stuff.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, you were getting engaged and you were getting married, and I was DJing a wedding. Then we could be besties.
DJ Tay.
Gotta make sure I secured a spot at the wedding. So had to DJ because I was gonna be there no matter what. So if that meant I had to DJ the wedding, I was gonna be there.
And I really appreciate it because if anybody asked me to do that, I would never. So
I was terrified to DJ it because a wedding is the biggest day of your life, and I was like, I'll be damned if I mess up the entrance song of Kaitlin's wedding. Like, that was so much pressure.
To me, I didn't really care because like the most important stuff was over. Like this is just like the after to me.
Yeah.
Not to David. David was like, well, we're like different.
Yeah. I think we did a good job. I don't think we messed anything up.
No, I think you did a good job. Yeah. I think I needed to have more music, but I think you guys did a really good job. But it was a blizzard, so everybody left early anyway, so it really didn't matter.
I think you were checked out. You were ready to go.
I was checked out. I was exhausted. I was ready to go. Yeah. Anyway, and ever since then, it's just gotten deeper and deeper and deeper, our relationship.
Yeah. I mean, we have babies now.
Yep.
We're married now.
Yep.
And life has just gone on, and we've grown closer through everything, Yeah. I mean, trauma bonded.
You don't have to tell them that part.
But anyways, speaking of your wedding.
Yeah.
And besties.
Yeah.
and not so many besties anymore.
Yeah.
We thought of the true maid of honor curse that happens when you get married.
We've both experienced this.
And we both experienced it. Let us know if you've ever experienced this or you heard anything like this. That's something.
No,
like,
what I
picked
want to
up
hear
on.
from is if you had a maid of honor and you're still besties with them.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear.
I think
because I know a lot of people have lost.
Yeah, that it's like, oh, once you're the maid of honor, you're done for. Like, if somebody asks you to be your maid of honor and they're best friends, say no, because like your friendship will fall
You're
out.
done. You're done. Unless you have like your sister or something.
Even then, who knows? Were you ever a maid of honor to someone else?
Nari didn't have a wedding party.
Mm-hmm. I've never.
I might have been Kirsten's, but I don't remember her using that verbiage. It was just all of us girls up there.
Yeah.
I think maybe I was.
I think I've only been in 2 weddings.
And with Kylie's, I have 3 sisters. We didn't stand up. We walked up, but we sat like in the front row. So
no,
I mean, maybe Kirsten's, but I don't remember her asking me to be maid of honor. But there was nobody else. It was just us girls. So
yeah, I've been in 2 weddings as bridesmaid. I've never been a maid of honor.
Yeah.
Even to my maid of honor, she put me in the back. She had just asked me to be in the wedding because she felt bad. I think she had a lot of girls. If you have more, in my opinion, if you're more than 4 girls, you don't like them that much. Like you have 4 besties. Like, I feel like if you're gonna be in someone's wedding, like, your best friends.
Yeah, like it's not just for show.
My wedding was Carly, and then Elise and Ashlyn, and it was important to me to have all 3 of them because Ashlyn was Colin's only sibling, only sister, and he had my brother. But I have 3 siblings. He wasn't gonna have everybody, and I was in Maddie's wedding. I was in 3 weddings. But you know what? I was the maid of honor in her wedding.
You were.
Backup maid of honor because she had a maid of honor and the maid of honor and her got into a scuffle and she got kicked out and I got bumped up.
Maid of honor curse.
But when she asked me, maid of honor curse, when she asked me to be in her wedding, she asked me to be a bridesmaid. So in my mind, the whole way through, I was still just a bridesmaid.
You were just a replacement, yeah.
Yeah. I held her flowers though. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was 3 of us, I think, that stood up there. But her wedding was also unconventional, too.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I had, of course, I have 3 sisters. And David has a lot of friends.
He does.
David is like a social butterfly. I am not. And so he kind of set the tone of how many people I needed to find to fill the spots.
But, though, I think you had your 3 sisters.
I had my 3 sisters.
Emily and Maggie.
And I had Maggie because Jason was in David's. And, I mean, we're friends. And then I had Emily because she was my bestie. As my maid of honor.
And Tay-Tay was just DJing the back.
I'm sorry, Tay-Tay.
Colin, it was actually funny. Colin's like, do you think Kaitlin would ask you to be in your wedding? But at that point, I felt like it would have been weird. We were not that close.
No, we weren't that close that I would have asked you to be in the
wedding. No.
Yeah.
So when Colin said, but men don't know.
No.
Like, he kept saying that. I was like, Colin, we're not there yet. Now, if you and I were to get married again, it would just be me and you. They're probably not having any of these other biddies in here.
Oh, yes. I think if you, like, redo everything, you would do everything differently. But, no, yeah, I had my maid of honor. It was kind of a tumultuous time. We had been friends since, like, junior high. And she was, like, my only friend.
Yeah.
Like, I've never been one to, like, have, like, a huge group of friends. I only have, like, 1 or 2 good friends and, you know, whatever. And, through high school, we were, like, tight. And after high school, we had some issues. She got with this guy that was literally no good. And I couldn't just, like, stand by and say, everything's great. He's a great guy. So, like, I wasn't nasty about it, but I was honest about it.
As you should. As a good friend.
Yeah.
Your job as a good friend is to be honest with your friends. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't lie. Don't say, You have to be honest
And
and
it
tell
wasn't that
them.
I didn't like him. He literally was no good.
He's just not a good person.
Yeah, he lied all the time. He didn't have a job.
Yeah.
She had to bail him out. I'm pretty sure that, no, that's a lie. That was a different guy. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, but it caused some tension between
Yeah, it
you
caused
two.
a lot of tension.
Yeah.
And we didn't speak for a while. Like, she just stopped talking to me, and that was very hurtful.
Yeah.
After
Red flag number 1.
No. After 2 years, we started talking again, and
A 2-year hiatus and then come back is that's crazy though.
I missed her so much. When we weren't talking during that time, I literally felt like I lost somebody.
Like it was like
I
had to,
cried so much, and I
grieve it.
told David, I'm like, she's my best friend, and I literally lost my best friend.
Yeah.
So we started talking through a random event, and she invited me to do something with her other friends. We did that, and then we started talking together again, and we got tight, like super quick again.
Yeah, because you were already friends before,
Yeah.
so
It was all great, and asked her to be maid of honor at my wedding. I know she was complaining about my sisters and stuff.
Did you? So everyone that you asked to be in your wedding stayed in your wedding. You never had to kick anyone out.
Correct.
I had to kick someone out.
That's crazy.
I forgot about that.
That's crazy. Well,
but at least you never had to kick anyone out.
No, I didn't have to kick anybody out.
You were kicked out.
I was kicked out. So
and unrelated. Go ahead.
Not unrelated.
Not
very
unrelated.
related. After I asked her, I know she was complaining about my sisters and whatever. My sisters are annoying, but she knew what she was signing up for.
Yeah, it's not like it was a shock.
Right. And shortly after I was engaged in the spring, and I think she got engaged in the fall then. And then her sister was like trying to plan the bachelorette while my wedding is like happening. And I just remember like,
now her sister was matron of honor, or was she
maid of honor?
She was maid of honor. You weren't.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, I was just a bridesmaid. So she asked me to be a bridesmaid, and it's like all fine and dandy. But her sister was like blowing me up about whether I was going on this bachelorette trip in the spring at my dinner rehearsal.
And you got married in January.
And
this was like Memorial Day that was supposed to be the bachelorette party. I remember.
Sometime in May. Yeah, I don't even know. And I remember Emily being like, "Can you please let her know?" And I just was
I'm busy. I'm getting married tomorrow.
I was very agitated because I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like,
I'll let her know when I'm not walking down the aisle. I'm kind of busy right now.
So we get married, and like time goes on.
And you do have like, you got married and you're going on your honeymoon and you're settling into all of that. And like,
yeah, like looking back, I'm like, that was really rude for them to be so pushy when I was trying to get ready for my wedding. Like, it could have waited.
Yeah.
And so I finally just said, fine, whatever, and Venmoed the money for the trip.
It's not like, oh, are you coming? It's like, okay, you're coming, send me this money. No. What days work? Like, all of the planning right now. Like, okay.
So a couple months later, it was springtime. I don't know, like maybe March. I really don't know when it happened, but it was spring. And one morning, her sister texted me, and we got into this dramatic fight, and I told Emily about it. And I called her sister a B word. And I totally take responsibility for like my part in the friendship breakup, because I know that some things I said were definitely inappropriate. And of course, Emily took her sister's side, even though Emily talked crap about her sister all the time. It was very sad. And she stopped responding to me, even though I'm like, can we get together and talk about this? And she's like, yeah. And then I kept trying to get together, and she would like leave me on red. Yeah. And she was like whatever, our Snapchats to like show to other people. I'm like, this is so childish. And it just ended up that she just stopped talking to me. Wild. And I even said, I'm like, if you don't want me in your wedding, I understand. I still want to come. Like, you're my best friend. Yeah. Nothing. Never replied. And so I wrote her a handwritten letter, like, from the heart, apologizing and how I felt. And
you read it. She read it because you sent a check with it, right?
I sent a check because I had got stuff at her yard sale that I owed her for. And I wasn't gonna like have her trash talking me over a couple dollars that I never paid her for a yard sale, so I wrote her a check.
So you know she would cash it.
Yeah.
Maybe she didn't read. Now, obviously,
No, she
if
read
somebody sends you a handwritten
You
letter,
read it.
you read it. You don't just get a handwritten letter and be like, trash.
Yeah. So
Even if you hate them, because you're curious to see what it says.
Yeah. So she cashed the check and still have not heard from her.
And this has been like
2019.
5 years.
I know.
Do you miss her?
I used to.
You did.
Yeah, initially it was like I lost her all over again, like I was totally grieving.
Yeah.
But the more that like I think about it, and I was in therapy for a year postpartum and just talking things out and like looking back on certain things that like happened with us. Like specifically there was this one instance like after I lost my pappy, I was super depressed. Like I'd never been that depressed in my life. He was my person.
Yeah.
And I remember being at her house, we were on the front porch, and I was just telling her, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm so depressed.
Yeah.
My family is like ruined. Everything's going off the rails. I've lost my person. I'm depressed. And
looking for a friend, looking for a shoulder to cry on.
And she had no words.
Just stares like...
She didn't say anything.
Huh.
And after that, there was still nothing. And
so like, it's not like she texted you later like, hi, I'm sorry, like I didn't say anything, I was uncomfortable, but I hope like you're doing it. Nothing. Yeah.
No.
Trash.
So, yeah, looking back on instances like that and other things that happened, I'm like, you know what?
It wasn't really a loss.
I feel like maybe I made the relationship more meaningful than what it was, maybe to her. I mean, and that's heartbreaking too, but yeah.
Yeah.
Lost my best friend.
Gained a new.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a very not very similar, but I just had a similar experience. And I will say my maid of honor and I were already kind of distanced between that time. Like, when you think of maid of honor, like at the point when I had gotten engaged, you were the first person I told that I was engaged, not even her. And at the time of me getting married, I didn't think to have you my wedding because like you were like pregnant at the time, just had a babe, like it was COVID, I got married, I had a COVID wedding. So everything was already like on the fritz.
Yeah.
And I think
like you had a backup date because you didn't even think
I had to replan my wedding. My initial original wedding date was May 31st. May 30th. I don't know.
Some date that was not used.
Yeah. And so I had to reschedule it because COVID was just, nothing was going on. Yeah. And so I had to reschedule everything, my photographer, my venue, all of those things for this new date. And it was very stressful on me. I'm planning a wedding in a pandemic. A lot of things are going into it. And my maid of honor just was not supportive. She wasn't helpful. She didn't help me replan anything. She didn't help me figure out a new date. Like, I feel like I did not see nor talk to her at all between the time I got engaged until the time I got married. She barely showed up to my bridal shower. She never planned me a bachelorette party. She just like was MIA. And I cannot stand, I hate to say this, but like, she wasn't being a girl's girl. Mm-hmm. And girls that get with their mans and then drop off the face of the planet, drop off the face of the earth, only want to spend time with their mans, don't care about anyone else. It's so frustrating because, like, are you for me or are you just hanging out with me when you don't have anything else going on? And it's like, she had just gotten with this guy who is her husband now. So I'm not, like, faulting her. Like, she was building a relationship with him. But, like, you and I have been best friends since the 6th grade, and I'm getting married. Like, you and I have talked about this day, me getting married, for freaking 8, 9, 10 years, you know? And I'm like, this is my wedding. Mm-hmm. And so, like, to not have a bachelorette party for me, she didn't help plan or set up or anything for the bridal shower. She was the maid of honor, you know? Elise was really the MVP of my wedding. She helped plan it. She did games. She showed up. She was there. And Elise is good at that stuff. Comes naturally to her. And Elise can be there for you when you need her. But, like, she's kind of going through the same thing right now where, like, she's with her man's, and like that's her number one right now. And like she's still going to school and stuff, but like on the weekends, like she doesn't come home. Like she's spending all of her weekends with him. And he works a crazy job, and I know that they want to spend time together because like it is important to build your relationship. But like don't forget about the people that you care about, you know? Like and just leave them in the dust. Like I think that with both girls, it's like don't just count on like us hanging around. Like life's not waiting for you. Like right now, like especially like my kids are growing and they don't know you. Like if you rolled up like, "Oh, I'm here." They don't know you. Like you're a stranger to them. Like so yeah, on my wedding day, it was very rough. So basically, she was late to my wedding. She showed up late. She was like fully dressed. She was ready to go.
But that's so crazy.
But she was not there for any of the process of me getting ready. She was not there for any like of those getting ready pictures at all. Dude, that's wild. And she had 1,000 excuses. Apparently she got pulled over the morning of my wedding. But like in my opinion, as a maid of honor, nothing is more important on that day than
Would she get pulled over and then run home to get ready and then come?
So she had a lot of excuses, and then like she was drinking a lot before the wedding, and like totally that's fine. You want to like get loosey goosey. She botched my maid of honor speech. She had the wrong location. She said we got married engaged in Baltimore. We didn't. She like basically trashed me. Do you remember those speech?
Honey, I was out.
I know. But I'm just wondering if you remembered it. But I just like it was just bad. It was bad. It looked like she didn't care. It came off that she didn't care. Other people mentioned it. Yeah. And so like obviously like to me it was hurtful, but you can't be in that moment because it's your wedding and you don't want it to ruin your wedding. But it did feel like it was janked. Yeah. That she didn't care like she should have.
It just really sucks. It's true. It's real. Maid of honor curse is real.
Yeah. And ever since then, like, her and I have not really been friends. I mean, we still talk, we're still cordial, we still text, but, like, she's never really seen my kids. She's never met my youngest. She's met my oldest. Really met her one time. Yeah. She's 2. Almost 2.5. Dude. Like, and we were so close. And it sucks. It sucks so much because not that she was my maid of honor, but just, like, we were just such close friends. And I just like you wish things were different, but you can't make them be different. Like you just can't. And so you just have to roll with it. And like it makes you sad a little bit. But
I think when we go through things like this, especially like maid of honor, because usually that's like your closest friend.
Yeah, that's your best friend.
Yeah. It's hard. It's difficult. It's like a grieving process, but it was also like a learning process for me because it was the first time that I started to realize that friends don't last forever through every phase of your life. That's not typical. Yeah. As you're changing, if your friends don't change in the same way you're changing, you grow apart, you do things separately, and then that friendship kind of fades. I mean, I know people who have been friends their whole life, but their things have just
say that her and I are friends. We are still friends.
Just not besties.
But we're not. Like, we don't talk very much at all. Like, you and I do talk every single day. We might not have full-blown conversations, but we do check in with each other every single day. Yeah. Like, it's rare that we both go a whole day without even at least, like, a meme sent back and forth. A reel, a TikTok. I know that we send each other TikToks every single day.
At minimum.
I know we send each other snaps every single day, even if we don't open them. Yeah. We're still checking in. Yeah. And if we didn't talk, it's like, okay, I'm filling you in on the last 3 days.
I know. I think like a day this week, because this week's been kind of crazy. I sent you a whole bunch of snaps, and then at the end of the day, I like went and looked. I'm like, oh, she hasn't opened them, and so I snapped. I'm like, I know you haven't looked at these, but
yeah, because you have to just keep each other in the loop. Yeah, and it's like to think about like where we are in our lives now, as busy as we are now. I can't imagine things could ever be worse than this. And maybe I don't know. Maybe someday we'll have like a tiff we never have.
Never have.
There's definitely been times where I'm like, gosh, Keaton's getting nerves. Like your wedding, like we were getting ready for your wedding. I'm like, dude, she's driving me nuts.
But I think that's typical.
Yeah, but yeah, you have to. I think that that's the thing about friendship is you have to be there in the good and the bad, and like we were talking about with like girl gangs and like putting yourself out there to make friends. You have to just throw yourself into the group. You have to immerse yourself in the friendship in the way that you want to be. You have to be the person you want to be in order to be treated the way you want to be treated.
I feel like, I don't know. I have a really hard time because I feel like I have tried to enter so many friendships and even like girls that it should make sense that we would be friends and it's never worked out.
Where you have a lot in common.
Yeah.
Oh, we have kids. Oh, our husbands are friends. We run in the same circles.
Yeah.
You would think, oh, this is just going to come naturally. Like, we have so much in common. Or even, like, family members. Or, like, oh, cousins or something. Like, you would think that you would just, oh, that'd be an easy friendship. That's an easy in. And it's not.
Yeah.
I've definitely had that.
I feel like, and I feel like I give my all. I can be a total people pleaser, so I feel like I'm always going above and beyond and doing things. And sometimes maybe it's too much. Maybe people are weirded out that I care so much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know what it is.
We still can't figure it out.
Yeah. If you know me and you're like, actually, Kaitlin,
this is it. Send an anonymous tip to relatively-speaking@hotmail.com and let us know.
I promise I won't cry too long.
Yes, you will.
I know. But I don't know.
Immersing yourself into groups and group friendships. I think group friendships are very hard. I don't know how people navigate group friends.
Yeah, there's always a side chat. And if you're not in the side chat, you know that there's a side chat. Yeah. And there's little friendships inside the group. There's a hierarchy. I don't care what anybody says. There is.
Well, there's one person. There's always, not a ringleader, but there's one person the friend group revolves around. And we talked about this before. It's like the Sex and the City arc where it's like Carrie is the center and there would be nothing without her. And so, like, is that what the friendship revolves around? Is that the center of the friendship? Is that the core of the friendship?
Like, all the other people, like, relate back to her, but these people don't all relate to
each other. So it's like, is that a really true friendship? Or is it just
convenience?
Yeah. And it's like, if you're not friends with these other groups, why bother getting together in a group? Why not just hang out with the one girl? Yeah. What is the importance of having this collective group?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, it's just like unrealistic when you see it in movies or you see it in TV shows that, oh, there's like these 3 friends or these 4 friends or even 5 friends. And it's like, what makes the group the group? How does the group operate? Because there has to be friendships within. It's like a chain. Without one, you know, maybe they all fall apart, or do they keep going? If the one falls off, and the group and the chain is still going.
And maybe that's part of my problem. Maybe all of the friend groups that I've tried to get in, maybe there's that one person that didn't really like me and they like convinced the rest of the group like, no.
Maybe. I think when you feel ousted, you feel like you start questioning yourself. Did I say a weird thing? Did I do too much? Did I try too hard? Did I not try enough? And I think that like what we talked about in the TikTok that we were talking about is when you want to be a friend, you have to act like the friend. You have to like fake it till you make it. Almost. Like, and we talked about like our husbands. They were friendly. Obviously, we were in a group together. We were in a small group together. So, like, they've
got no issues.
Yeah. But, like, we never hung out with all of our families together until recently. Like, we didn't get the kids together and the husbands together and everything. Maybe because we didn't want to make them feel uncomfortable or put them in an awkward situation. But, like, when we did it this past week, when we got all together, I think it was fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
I mean, I think our husbands are both very, like Colin is quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe when there's so many people together, you're picking up on too many energies.
Yeah.
And you're like, ooh, is this person upset? Ooh, is this person uncomfortable? Ooh,
I can definitely read into stuff, like, way too far.
Yeah.
And David tells me that I care too much. Like, I just need to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the easiest thing in the entire world.
Yeah.
Have I think I've said to you this before. There's a professor that has this theory that you can only have like 5 close friends
Mm-hmm.
because literally the human brain cannot be that intimately close with more than 5 people
Mm-hmm.
at one time. And so I feel like it only makes sense that relationships do ebb and flow. Because to have the same exact 5 people your entire life is kind of unrealistic.
Well, and we talked about it, is like, does that include family members? Does that
Yeah.
include, you have 3 sisters?
Yeah, and your spouse and
Yeah, your spouse, and then it's like eventually your kids. It's like you can only give so much. You only have
yeah.
enough to give to so many people. And if
Yeah.
you're a mom, especially being a mom, like let's say you have 2 or 3 kids, it's like you're pulled at, like you're spent. You're
Yeah.
already spread so thin that, like, okay, think about you. You have 3 kids and a husband. By the time I roll around, you don't have anything for anyone else, and you have 3 sisters, and you have, like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you have enough bandwidth
Mm-hmm.
to operate on all these different levels?
Yeah.
You know? And I feel like maybe you just show up for your kids and it's like one. Like, your kids are maybe grouped to, like, these are my children, grouped. Because your relationship, you have an individual relationship with each kid,
Mm-hmm.
but on a day-to-day basis, when you interact with your kids, it's usually in a group setting.
Yeah.
But like your relationship with your husband is, that's like a, you have a deep connection, and the type of conversation and relationship you have is unique.
Yeah.
And like you and I, like our relationship is unique, and the types of conversations we have are unique. But like maybe like with your sisters, it's like, okay, maybe that's like a group together, like lump.
Yeah.
Because the majority of the time when you talk to them, it is like maybe in a group setting or like,
Yeah.
yeah. But maybe we're too spread thin right now. And maybe
I
that's
would
why we're not
agree.
part of any girl groups.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish I knew.
I
I don't.
I think sometimes I tell myself I want to be a part of this group, but I don't. I don't think I
Yeah.
do. I don't want to be where I'm not wanted. If I don't
Yeah.
feel 100% wanted and involved, I'm not going to put my energy into it. You know?
Yeah.
Like, what's that saying? Like, if you weren't invited, don't ask. Like,
Yeah.
if, yeah, because, you know, you don't want to sound like desperate, I guess. Like, but it's true sometimes.
Yeah. I don't have anything more to add because I mean, that's the truth. And I feel like sometimes I do feel desperate because I'm like, I just want some girlfriends.
Yeah.
I want to feel like I'm a part of friend. Like David has friends and they do things. And when I'm at home with the kids, I'm like, why do I not have friends? What is wrong with me? Like, why can't I get
It's so
friends?
hard to make friends as an adult. Like, they do say that, like, the majority of the friendships that you will make for life are going to be when you're in high school and college. Because after high school and college, when are you ever around
That many
that
people.
many people? Other than, oh, work friends. Oh, I met this person at the gym, at the grocery store, etc. Like, that's a random occurrence. And I guess church. Church is probably the best other way as an adult, a grown adult, people would make
Yeah.
friends. Like, they call it like the third space. That's not like work or home. It's this third space. And for a lot of people, it's church, because when else are you going to be in a group setting like that? Unless it's like I would say, like the mom groups that I meet up with, the majority of those girls either went to school with me and I wasn't that close with them, but that's how I know them. So that still would be grouped into like high school, like we went
Mm-hmm.
to school together, you know? Wouldn't you say that's the majority of the people that you're friends with on Facebook? Or
Is that how we're counting friends?
I don't know, like when you talk about these groups that you're talking about, like getting in with, who are the people, technically, like in relation to you?
Okay, so like just an example, I went to that play group. I forget what it's called, but they were having a splash pad day and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
They already had their cliques.
Mm.
I'm not welcoming into their cliques.
Yeah.
And I'm not a person that's just gonna go and be like, I want to be your friend.
Well, yeah, you're not
You know?
super extroverted
Like, I
either.
definitely
I would
make
even have a hard time with that.
comments. Like, my kids were playing with their toys and their kids, and, like, I walked over and, like, stood close to them. Because, so I feel like I'm the person that I would reach out to that person. I'd be like, oh my gosh, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Like, your kid's so cute. Because I never want anybody to feel left out.
Left out. That's how I am.
But I feel like I'm always left out.
Left out.
Yeah. Yeah, and, like, when the kids started pre-K, like, even my kid's pediatrician was talking to me about it, and they're like, oh, your kids are starting pre-K. Like, they're going to get so many friends. You're going to find new parent friends.
Where are they? Are they friends in the room with us?
Like, I don't know if I missed a memo somewhere where all these people, like, grouped up and became friends.
Because you said, like, even, like, they're all, like, grouped up when you show up, and they're already in the hallway chit-chatting.
Yeah. And, like, we're standing in line, and they're all talking with each other. I don't know these people. Like, how do these people...
Where did you guys...
I don't know. Maybe they had, like, a meeting beforehand. I don't know.
Where did you guys link up?
I don't know.
I'll let you know, because when Sonora starts school, I'll be in there, and then maybe I'll see what the vibe is. Maybe I'll make all these new friends.
You can be like, Kaitlin, you're the problem.
And then I'll just pull you in. Like, hey, have you met Kaitlin? She's great. We have a podcast. You want to be a guest?
Follow along.
And then everyone will be like, these weird girls that my kids go to preschool with have a podcast, and they are trying to recruit people. Like a cult.
Yeah, that'll really gain us a lot of friends.
Maybe give us a lot of listeners.
Yeah.
If you're here from preschool...
Listen, we don't care who you are.
Tuning in live.
We don't care who you are. If you're here to be a bestie, we love you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're here to be a hater, we love you. I think that about wraps it up for this week. I don't have anything more to add. Friends, frenemies, maid of honor curses.
Everything in between.
Everything in between. Trying to make friends.
Trying to learn the podcast life.
Yeah.
Still.
It's rough out here.
It's rough out here.
But we're having fun.
And it'll get better. Every week will be better.
Bye, besties.
Bye, besties.